Hi, County Board team. This is Kamarr. As you know, Dr. Combs has been doing video updates, and she has asked members of the leadership team to do updates on their respective departments. Today, I'm going to take a little bit of time and update you on what's going on in the RFS department. We had great weather this weekend, and I'm hopeful everybody got a chance to get out and enjoy the fresh air. Whether you took a walk, rode your bike, or just sat on the front porch and didn't think about COVID-19, you really needed to make time for yourself. Since the COVID-19 situation had begun, we have been thinking about what we could do as a department and as an agency to support individuals with developmental disabilities. One of the first things we decided we needed to do was focus on making sure individuals were safe, providers were paid timely, and creating and locating resources to support those displaced or impacted by COVID-19. With that in mind, we had all our RFS staff, primarily our SSAs, EN SSAs, Employment Navigation SSAs, Community Crisis SSAs, start reaching out to their families and reassuring them that the county board is here, we're fully operational, and we had resources available to support them. After we did that, we started thinking about how we would support people who are actually displaced by the COVID-19 situation. So we determined that we may want to have some COVID-19 support locations that would allow providers, families, and other individuals in the community serve our agency a place where they could be supported. The thought being, if an individual living in a supported living site were impacted by COVID-19, they would be able to do a couple of things. They could be served in their own home if we were able to create a space within that home where they could be served safely and separately from the other individuals. Dr. Combs worked with the Air Force Base to secure cots for us, and we currently have those stored in the Northview Resource Center. Those cots can be deployed to supported living homes as well as family homes that would allow individuals to have an area set up where they could be supported and served in place. If that scenario didn't work for families or individuals, we also are looking to set up the COVID-19 support sites through a collaboration with possibly a ResCare ICF, and we're also trying to secure cottages on the former MDC campus. Depending on which site we locate, the thought would be that individuals who are needing supports could actually be served at the ICF or on the MDC campus that would allow them to be separated from individuals who were not currently diagnosed with COVID-19, and they could get the supports they needed there. We're working with a couple of providers currently to possibly staff those sites, and we think this will be a good arrangement. Also knowing that those providers are already struggling to find direct support professionals, Marcy Slifko, our compliance manager, has been working with independent providers to set up a network of providers, primarily independents, that will be willing to work through contracts with the county board to support the COVID-19 sites as well as the programs for individuals that are maybe in the homes. The thought would be that those independent providers could actually staff the COVID-19 sites directly, or they could be fill-ins if some of the providers' homes were short-staffed because they were impacted by COVID-19. DSPs are already in short supply, so if we lose a few DSPs because of COVID-19, that will certainly impact our network. We've been working continuously to kind of figure out ways how we can support individuals, families, and make sure they know that we are here. As Mitch mentioned in his video, we've created the Northview Resource Center, but providing some of those resources has come to be somewhat of a challenge. So some of the things we've been trying to do to be creative is actually creating some of those resources ourselves. I know Sherry and Faith have begun sewing physical cloth face masks, and we've been providing those to board staff and providers. I know Brian, Rick, Tom have been delivering supplies, Kroger gift cards. Brian has actually been spearheading the negotiation to try and find providers to operate the COVID-19 sites. Rick has been working to actually secure those physical locations for the COVID-19 sites. As I mentioned earlier, Marcy is working with the independent providers to create that resource pool of independent providers. And while we're doing all that, we're also trying to have these COVID-19 sites ready to go. So another option that we've kind of put into play is the Northview Annex, which is the former adult interim care home, has been vacated by the early intervention staff. Thank you, Esther, and your group. And we plan to actually use that as another COVID-19 support site. This past Friday, we worked with the maintenance department who actually moved all the items out of that facility, and we have it essentially staged so we have a site up and ready to go. A lot of activities been going on throughout the agency and with the RFS department. And again, we're able to kind of get this done because everybody in our department has been working hard to support each other. Whether you're an SSA, whether you're a social service aide, whether you're a secretary, it doesn't matter. Everybody's playing a role right now to make sure we are operational and we're providing the best service we can. And not to mention, all this activity is impacting our back office staff over in the FMO. Cheryl Sarver is constantly hearing from me requesting invoices, POs, requisitions, and she's getting those things done super quick, and we appreciate that also. This is a big to-do, and I know that is, and I don't want to minimize it, but I would like to encourage everybody to remember, this is not our first rodeo. Last year, the tornadoes came to town, things happened, and we worked together, and we made it. After the tornadoes came to town, the Oregon district had that situation, and again, we worked together, we stood strong, and we made it. History is a great predictor of the future, and I think based on our history, this community and this agency has kind of demonstrated that when things arise, hard times, or there's crisis, this agency is able to rise to the occasion and make sure we do our part as a good community citizen, and also too to make sure individuals with disabilities get the services that they need. I would caution everybody to not overreact and just take it day by day. We only can control what's in front of us. You can what if this thing to death, and you can kind of drive yourself insane doing that. That's not a good use of your time. Everybody needs to kind of focus on trying to keep themselves, their families, and their friends, supported and, trying to stay healthy. That is really the most important thing you can do right now. So thank you for allowing me to share a few updates about the RFS department. And remember, wash your hands. Thank you.